And basically, the more autotelic, which means is that you're in control of the goal setting, and the more decentralized it is, especially with a group, meaning that decentralized means that there's not one like boss or one manager or one leader that's saying everybody needs to do this. This is what you need to do. Make sure that you're doing, this thing, right? That as the group or you take ownership of the goal setting, you end up having more success, right? And that's the real key. If I'm trying to, if I'm the owner or the manager or the boss or the coach, and I'm the one that's trying to tell you, hey, you need to do all this stuff, you need to do all this stuff, and you're not the one that's saying that, it's just never going to happen. It's not going to be sustainable. And the question could become, is it an issue with our ability to set these goals? Sometimes that's the problem, right? We have a, discrepancy and a gap in between, the synergy and alignment of those goals and what we would call your motivational fit. If you're a piano player and I say, hey, you know what, I need you to run 25 miles, a day to be a better piano player, people are going to be like, whatever, right? But if you're an ultra marathon runner, that aligns, right? So having that synergy, with your goals and this idea of motivational fit with the group or, with the individual is huge, right? So these goals also need to be very specific and measurable. This comes back to this, SMART goal situation. And I see this all the time. This is the one I see all the time, right? It's like, I want this thing, right? But it's never specific and it's never measurable. And they say that's the reason for that is people make it vague. So when they don't achieve what they want to achieve, they actually have an excuse for it, or it's just an ignorance type of issue, right? But in general, that'll be the case, is that the less specific that I am, the easier it is for me to say, oh, well, that's why I didn't achieve my goal, because I didn't know where I was going type of thing, right? That kind of comes back to the Alice in Wonderland quote. The more, specific and measurable that you make this, the easier it is to realize where you are relative to the score, relative to the finish line, like it says over here on the last bullet point on the right, right? That's what makes this goal setting situation effective, right? It comes back to this needs analysis and business planning and the evaluation based protocol. We need a starting point relative to the finish line, right? So again, like we've talked about before, timing is everything, and knowing that, how long is it going to take for you to get to that finish line? This is another area where people, typically don't do very well. And ultimately, they again, like I said, they get to a point where they think that they should have achieved the goal and they feel like a failure. All the while they've been doing everything that they need to do to be successful. They just don't get there as fast. Like we talked about with your aging fitness clients and your aging population, right? They're going to be it's going to take them a lot longer to achieve their goals, maybe double the time, like we talked about. It may take them 6 to 12 months to get the same results that you're going to see with a younger person, in 2 to 3 months or 3 to 6 months type of thing, right? So we also have Parkinson's law, right? Parkinson's law is this idea that, if you create shorter deadlines, you actually do a better job of being successful in terms of, this consistency in giving your best effort towards the goals. If you create, this, really, really long time frame to get to your goal that you're looking for, and it's too long, you basically start getting sloppy during that time period, and you don't put your best work and your best effort forward, right? So with that, we also need to have accountability and rewards. The 4 disciplines of execution, they call it the cadence of accountability, which also comes back to this reviewing your goals and reviewing your accountability, what you said that you were going to do, at least on a weekly basis. In a daily basis, maybe get too much. You should have an idea of the 1 or 2 things that you need to do today to get yourself closer to your goals, but you don't necessarily need to go through a whole goal setting strategy. But you want to come back and review this on a weekly basis to keep yourself accountable. And hopefully, if you have a team going, it's going to be the same thing, or your mentor or your coach or your therapist or whatever it is that you're going to review these, on a frequent basis. So there's this other idea between lead and lag measures, right? So a lead measure is more of a short-term goal, but these are also your behavioral scenarios. What am I going to do to get to the long-term goal, right? And I have a little bit more on this, but that's what your short-term goals should be. Your lead measures are your short-term goals. but they should be leading you towards the long-term goal, or what, in the 4 disciplines of execution, they call your lag measure, right? So, and as we do this, like it says here on the right side, as we make this declaration with these goals and start, basically working in this process, it creates inertia and momentum and brings us closer and closer to the things that we're trying to achieve. And it's, really what, they call this the law of attraction. It's the idea of, if you say, hey, I want to, buy a new, blue Toyota RAV4, whatever, throw that out there. And then, you start researching, and then all of a sudden you start seeing blue Toyota RAV4s everywhere. That's kind of the idea behind this, right? As you create those goals, it starts bringing you closer and closer towards achieving those goals, right? Next.